Ancient wisdom is handed down through centuries because the collective experience of a people shows that either words or actions have great power. I gotta tell you, confessing character flaws is a practice that has been handed down through many cultures because it works. This is Beth Wee in the Koinonia Kitchen, and we're talking today about Step 5, admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being, the exact nature of our wrongs. Now, a lot of people just think that Step 5 is about telling somebody what you did that was bad. That is not the nature of your wrongs. That is the wrongs, but not the nature of your wrongs. What about you had to get pushed to an extreme for you to do that thing? There was a lovely man from New Hampshire. His name was Gene, and he was a retired professor of university. And Gene used to say, "It's not that I stole candy from the baby. It's that I'm the kind of man that will steal candy from the baby if it allows me to get my needs met." Do you get the difference? It's not the act of stealing the candy. It's that you've become the kind of person that will steal the candy. That's what compulsive behaviors and addictions drive us to. It's not that I don't trust you. It's that I'm the kind of person that will look at your phone when you leave the room because I don't trust anyone. Isn't that a horrible way to live? This is where can be relieved. This is where you admit who you've become in an effort to get what you want. This is Step 5. You know, it's going to cause some ego deflation. Nobody likes to have their ego deflated. It's much nicer when somebody is blowing you up. But I'm sorry, ego deflation is necessary if you want to live an honest life of integrity. For some of you that are trying to get off an addictive substance or an addictive compulsive behavior, you will not have long-time sobriety or clean time and peace of mind until you do this step. Come on, that's why you started the steps in the beginning. This is the reason you're here. Ego. You know this phrase, easing God out. So when I'm acting in ego, it negates all the Step 3 practice I've gone through. Instead of saying, "Thy will, not mine," I'm saying, "No, my way, my way, my way." That's ego. What if you skip Step 5? What if you say, "Hey, I wrote it down, I saw it, I got it, I'm going to be better for it"? Well, the books of Alcoholics Anonymous tell you that that's kind of a scary thing. Some people are not able to stay clean at all. Others relapse periodically until they really do the work. And still others try to carry the load alone, suffering irritable, anxiety, remorse, depression, blaming those they love, and sometimes even ending their lives because the load is too heavy. We need to become accountable for our own lives up to this point. And I promise you, if you do it, it will make going forward so much better. But why would you quit doing Step 5 when these promises are available to you? The feeling that the addictive problem has disappeared will often come strongly. You will be able to look the world in the eye. You will be able to be alone at perfect peace and ease. Your fears will fall away. You will begin to feel close to the Creator, to the higher power, however you call it. Come on, the practice is an ancient exercise. People have been doing it for millennia with great success. So what's the deal? You're looking at your record. What made you start living the life you led? Did it make you a better person? At first, it probably did. At first, it probably helped you feel more comfortable in your own skin. Maybe it lessened your fear of other people. Maybe it made you feel like you belonged somewhere. Because compulsive behaviors and addiction promises things they can't deliver long term. Now it's time to find out what feelings are in there so that we can finally be rid of this terrible sense of isolation that we've been suffering from. When you have to forgive somebody, maybe that's why you don't want to talk about it, because that would mean that you need to be forgiven or you need to forgive someone else. Forgiveness is a tough one because we're just learning about our spiritual life. We're only on step 5 out of 12. We're just doing the work. But the spiritual life it's not a theory. It's something we have to live. And when I say that, forgiveness is tough because it's a God quality. It's a tough quality for humans. But I want you to know what forgiveness is not. Maybe that will make this easier. Maybe it will make talking about this all easier. Forgiveness is not approval or excuse for the wrongs. Forgiveness is not denial of your responsibility or the other person's responsibility. It's not minimizing or justifying the harms that were done. It's not saying that they should have happened that way. It's not always reconciliation. When the person you're forgiving or the person who has to forgive you doesn't want to be in relationship anymore, that's okay. But the forgiveness still has to be in place so that you can walk away free and clear. This is the big one. Forgiveness is not a feeling. It's an act of your will. It's a choice to give up the desire to punish yourself or somebody else so that you can walk away free and clear, free of the burden of someone else's wrongdoing or of your wrongdoing. You get to walk away. You've taken responsibility. You've told someone about it. You've asked God to help you move on. What I'm talking about here is getting honest with yourself. That's probably one of the best definitions of humility that you'll ever hear. Because when you're honest with yourself, you've accurately assessed yourself. You've become authentic. You know when you need help. You're not afraid to ask for help when you're humble. You know when you can help. You're not afraid to give help when you're humble. So as you get more realism and honesty with yourself, you're going to get straight thinking. You're going to get genuine humility. You're going to be able to keep it real and really mean it this time. It won't be like a om saying that you're saying. Choosing the way that relieves us from embarrassment makes our desire to clean house theoretical. Remember, if you want the gift of realism and honesty, it starts here. Step 5 is going to break some of those chains of dysfunction we carry from our childhood homes into the world around us. If you were told, don't tell, don't feel, don't trust, this is where that can stop. You're not an outsider in this world. You belong, and we're here to listen to your story and help you be free from the parts of it that aren't even true. Sometimes our thinking isn't clear yet when we're doing this step. Rationalization and wishful thinking can masquerade as the guidance of your higher power. So you need a faithful witness to make our efforts meaningful. And it's a person in the land of the living. There's somebody that you can sit down with and tell all of the dark secrets that you're trying to hide. Who do you tell? Does it have to be your sponsor? No, it doesn't. And if there's stuff that you're anxious about getting out, go to a clergyman or a counselor who's telling you, or a lawyer that tells you that they can't share your information with anyone else. But step 5 is about intimacy. Intimacy isn't getting naked with the lights on. Intimacy means into me see. It's sharing yourself with someone else. And we gain intimacy with ourselves and others. But step 5 actually allows us to gain intimacy with God. I know it's true because we emerge from isolation in this step. Intimacy is physical, it's emotional, it's spiritual. The act can be forgiven, but the nature must be healed. This step isn't about confession, it's about awareness. We want to be aware of how low we will actually limbo to get our whacked instinctive needs met. It's not the action of, ripping off our own mothers. And many people listening to this did that. We don't want to become the kind of people who would rip off our own mothers. It's the nature, not the sin. Oh, I'm so tired of people thinking that what they did is the problem. It's not what they did. It's that they allowed themselves to do it that needs to be healed. Broken spots where addiction and compulsive behavior warped our moral standards are there. We need to reveal them so they bring them into the light, just like taking a dirty diaper off an abused child. It's going to hurt at first. There's going to be sores and wounds, but without the fresh air and the light, it's not going to heal. You weren't yourself when you did some of this, or you were a version of yourself that can be changed and healed. God heals our nature when we ask in step 6 and 7, but we got to get humble first. Step 5 is the precursor. That's why the faithful witness who's going to listen is so important. When you hear people in 12-step rooms speak about horrible past actions, sometimes you run up to them and give them a hug. How can this happen? I'm promising you that's the promise of step 5. When somebody makes peace with their past, they're no longer ashamed. They know that that's how bad it had to get for them to get better, for them to do the work to change their life. And they deserve unconditional love. In the same way, step 5 isn't a laundry list of bad behaviors. Active addicts and alcoholics, active compulsive behavior people, they may limbo lower with their actions because of the spiritual disease that is robbing them of the ability to live out their own personal morals. Instead, they manipulate people, places, and things to get their way. We use people and want things, love things. When the disease is arrested and treated, the ethics and morals can return, along with the power to carry them out. Isn't that the best? Your actions will change, but you've got to get honest about it first. Always consider the nature of the wrongs, the base disposition of our character. If your character is healing and growing and making progress since you came into the rooms of recovery and you started your step work, wow, you're already so much better. Do this part. Don't be afraid. Become one of the old timers whose story has helped so many. Even after we talk about this, we may stoop to some of these lows to get our needs met. But I promise you, as you mature spiritually, you're going to move away from selfish objectives, and you're going to rejoin the human race. So don't do the limbo anymore if you don't have to. But the first thing you have to do is tell somebody, not only that you did the limbo and you went that low, but why you think you did it. What were you trying to get? Once you understand that, you will understand your nature, and you can ask to have it healed. It's time to take addiction out of the shadows and shine the encouraging light of recovery on everyone affected. Good Seed Podcast is powered by BethWE.com, a nonprofit ministry based in Vero Beach, Florida. We'll start the uncomfortable conversations that turn despair into hope and complacency into action. Connect, communicate, and thrive with us. Check us out online at BethWE.com. Thanks for tuning in. We'll talk again soon.